Good evening, dear friends. Today we are visiting a person who has a very nice audiophile listening room and is a hospitable host. We are going to have some very interesting work to do here. Today we are going to restore justice. Well, let's go. Here is the listening room.
Today, dear friends, we will touch something sacred. We are going to modify the Klipschorn, which has been produced since 1946. Can you imagine? These speakers have been produced without changes for 80 years, almost a whole century. Audiophiles say that this is the ultimate destination in audiophilia. That's it, the end of all discussions. But today, Roland from Reflektor Audio will show and tell us how these speakers can be improved to make them sound truly good.
There are very few systems in the world that have potential for development. I mean, a system that's already complete. And it has the potential to take you many steps forward without changing anything in it. Only the settings are changed. There aren't many such systems, especially considering you have to understand they were made many years ago. Martin Logan and similar systems of that class. They have potential for development, and you can easily, let's say, upgrade such systems. As of today, high-end can already, let's say, take a back seat. But Klipsch, that's a whole different story.
Because in order to really understand what's built into it when Klipsch himself was developing it,
that was so many years ago. Yes, he laid down almost all the fundamentals needed for high-quality playback.
everything is done right in it. The low frequency section, the mid frequency, and the high frequency section.
That is, all of this was done absolutely flawlessly. And even today, if you put something next to it,
Well, there is no such system where I will now tell you about the tasks that were accomplished here. So,
Well, audiophiles, when they say this is the final stop in audiophilia, they're right. Right? No.
because they've never actually heard how it's supposed to sound. That's exactly the point. The whole thing is that this speaker system has been released without any modifications for so many years. I only have one complaint, and that's with the company Klipsch. There can't be any complaints about Klipsch himself because there are no downsides to it. The only downside is that he didn't leave a will when there will be, let's say, an opportunity to perfect it. Well,
this company, as I understand it, is more focused on business. They didn't invest anything into it.
And what they tried to do with electronics, all of that is useless. So it didn't get them anywhere.
They have the same problems.
We're showing you the 6th version. It's
This
passive,
is the 6th. This
and
is
the
the
7th
passive
version, the next
6th
one,
version.
is a step up. It's already active.
Yes, and that doesn't help much there. As you can imagine, everything passive here was done, yes, thanks to that Klipsch did everything right. But for obvious reasons, he simply didn't have enough time to perfect it.
Back in those years, no one even thought about it. Now we'll talk about the nuances. Yes, forgive me, Klipsch fans, but this speaker has no character at all.
What is this? So if, let's say, the manufacturer always tries to put the drivers together in one cluster, well, many manage to do it, but only a few can make them work in phase. Then this speaker has neither one nor the other. That is, it doesn't have any impulse response. I'm not talking about the amplitude frequency response because that's not important. It's not important. As they say nowadays, you can do whatever you want. But the impulse response, to create it, you just need to take a processor and assemble the system. Because what I was talking about, what's built into it, allows you to do everything. What do you think?
Tell me more. What's in it, in your opinion?
Then a question. What do you think a horn is for? Well, while you're answering this question, you can write your answers live. You can wait a bit until I tell you.
Ask Ask artificial
Ah,
intelligence
ask
what it
the
thinks
artificial
about
intelligence.
this. Yes.
Maybe he'll tell you something. Well,
Basically, the horn is needed to create a band-limited acoustic system with specific parameters. This means a specified amplitude frequency response,
specified roll-offs at the edges of this frequency response.
a specified phase response, and specified dispersion characteristic. But what you thought of is what we call a positive side effect, that is efficiency. And so, if people approach the horn the way I just described, and Klipsch did approach the horn this way, then horn systems would be on a completely different level, right? And because even today, those who produce horns still don't understand what a horn is really for. You have to consider each one separately, the low frequency section, the mid frequency section, and the high frequency section. The high frequency section, back in those years, for example. Yes. Let me remind you again. It only has one small issue, and even that issue isn't in the working range. It's much lower than the crossover frequency we've already set, well, with the processor, yes. Moving on. The high frequency section has a natural roll-off after 14. The roll-off begins. Those who shout, yes, the DSP is going to add some grain now. My dear friends, with tweeters like these that have a natural roll-off, you don't need to correct it because it sounds very good. And this graininess, you practically have to listen for it, if you can even hear it at all. There you go. The mid-range section is perfect. So our crossover frequency is around 4 to 4.5 kilohertz. And at 400 hertz, we have the low frequency crossover. Yes, that's what we have. In fact, even though this isn't a coaxial design, the entire range that I called mid-range actually comes from a single driver.
There you go. And the high frequency section doesn't really have much of an effect. So the whole vocal range, everything we need, all the interest in the mid-range, it all seems to come from one place.
Why do you say it's faceless? Let's go.
Why do you say it's faceless?
So, why is it faceless?
Here, let's just look at the impulse response. Just a basic impulse response. Well, I can tell you a lot about it. Again, you may or may not understand, but these are step responses. Here, take a look. So,
Step-response конкретной колонки,
yes,
про которую мы сейчас
which should have a
рассказываем. Да.
triangular shape. Actually, look, the tweeter is separate, the blue mid-range is separate, the mid-bass is separate, so the distance between them is almost 1.5 meters.
What does that mean? It means that your speaker basically doesn't work as a single unit.
These are drivers spaced meters apart, which naturally just shout. And each one does its own things separately, not grouped together. Now, how do you spot this on a simple emotional pulse? Here, well, there's a bunch of noise, right? So how do you spot it? What do you hear in your ear? See, what reaches your ear first is the tweeter. Then the mid-range comes in with a crazy delay, and the low end is completely separate.
So the high frequencies and the mid-range will always dominate in playback.
Yeah,
The
and you won't,
lows will
even
lag behind.
if you change the frequency response, reduce it, it won't save you. The picture will remain the same. Next.
There's no point in looking at the frequency response because it's, well, not interesting. And since nowadays we can flatten it out, you know, there are filters available, sold as...
Mhm.
Like it's flat, but in reality, you're not changing anything. That's why I said they are speakers with potential. Very few speakers have this kind of potential. And considering that this was released 80 years ago, it has incredible potential. It has everything you need. You just need to take them, set them up correctly in the speaker, and connect them properly into a single unit.
So the cabinet is good, the speakers are good.
That's
It's a
probably all
good
that
design.
matters.
What's our problem? Is it with the filter?
With the filter. And now I'm showing what we got. So we got an impulse response, as you can see.
But
There,
this
this
pulse
is in the
already-
same place.
This pulse is
Everything
already-
was
it
measured
reminds
in the
me,
same
It reminds
place.
me
Yes,
it's good.
next
That's
are
how
the
it
step
should be.
responses. Please, we have the step responses. Yes, it already looks like a triangle. All
Yes.
the drivers are grouped together in one bunch. Here, of course, the room has an effect. But, well, That's understandable. That's how it should be.
But this picture is
This
already much
picture
clearer than the one before.
already resembles what you would get from the original recording, how it was recorded.
So, with such high sensitivity, yes. And let's say the dynamic range will also be adequate. You can finally listen to it at high volume, because otherwise, in its original version, it's impossible to listen to it at high volume. Folks will say more about the companies themselves. Why all this is happening? Yes, it's because there's no accountability. If we were with the guys, let's say with the Majorsont or Meyerson team or Territory Till, yes, I'm 100% sure they would have finished it properly. That's the downside of this company. They've been releasing an unfinished system for so many years. So what do we have next? Next we have this 100-meter dash, as I call it, yeah? So you see that all the frequencies arrived at the same time.
Well, look, in the low frequency range, there's a bit of, well, blurring.
No, that's the room. This is
It's
the
a
whole
room, right?
room. That's why there's an A here.
So it turns
Well,
out to
overall,
be a
it all turns
straight
out to
line.
be a
That
straight
is,
line.
all the frequencies reach our ears at the same time. Look, this is this red band. It's almost all one tone.
Monotone, that's right.
This means that the frequencies arrive, first of all, on time, and secondly, they all create an equal
tight
sound
bundle.
when they reach our ears. Yes.
It's all tightly bundled together, a tight bundle. Now, let's move on. Let's look at the characteristics of these. Yes. So I'll tell you a bit about these characteristics. Well, those who understand, fine, and those who don't, try to catch up. So on top is the phase response, and below that the frequency response. The dark one is Klipsch.
stock
You can see the
crossover.
phase
The stock
distortions. They're just
crossover,
crazy.
meaning the
original.
phase is broken everywhere.
Yes, and there's really no need to talk about it. Next, this room, the blue, the light blue one, that's already ours.
This is already done.
And the frequency response, yes. And look, so this room here, it's nothing serious, but basically we've got it. We
Well,
turned it
look,
on up to 60 hertz.
So the kick
Yes,
drum will be
60.
The kick drum will be pounding at the same speed as the bass, right?
From 60 hertz all the way up. The phase is almost flat. That's a really good
Yeah,
result.
and now here
And,
are the
the
frequency
frequency
response
response.
indicators. Yes, it goes down to 25 hertz in a real room, right?
Yes.
And here is the frequency response along with it.
That is, let me remind
you
you,
can
the blue
see-
one, that's our modified Klipsch. Yes. And the black one is the Klipsch before modification.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
it
That's
turned
right.
out
That's how
great.
it is.
We had a dip in the low end, in the upper bass, but now it's gone.
And now we can turn off the old one. So take a look. Yes, you can see what came out of it. And the frequency response can still be adjusted. Naturally, you understand that there's a processor installed. You can do whatever you want, but here we don't have any pre-ringing or post-ringing. Because the filter is balanced, the filter is my own development, and it doesn't use a classical approach. It's made differently. Everything is completely different. And why is it different? Because I use my own developments like acoustic resonances for filtering. And the same thing is done here. But this was done 80 years ago. So Klipsch really thought about it. Yes, but imagine in those years putting it all together as a whole. For him it was practically, well,
It was useless. He wouldn't have been able to do it.
even today, even with processors, if they try to assemble it in the classical way, using the same filters, with the usual standard approach, you'll have the same thing. There will be post-ringing and pre-ringing. You'll have pre-sound. With FIR filtering, you'll get pre-ringing, while with simple classical filtering, you'll get post-ringing. So here you need a comprehensive approach. Even though I say it has enormous built-in potential. So look, now we're taking it out.
We are working slowly, taking out these little trinkets that were here.
This is the
Germans
original
joined in
one.
here
This is
too,
the original Klipsch filter.
Yes. The Germans also sent their filters here. Filters. Well, it's the same kind of comedy as with these original filters. I mean, as I already said about this 90, we talked about it, right? That no matter where you move your filters, you haven't changed anything. You just changed the emphasis. It had the uneven phase response before, and it still does. It's the same here. Well, you change the emphasis. Yes, something like that. But overall, you won't be able to put it all together as a whole.
So, as of today, this system released 80 years ago will leave everything in high-end audio far behind.
Really?
Yes, there is no system that can boast such, let's say, such capabilities that were built into it.
That is 80 years ago. Paul
Exactly.
Klipsch made
Exactly.
such a
There it is, the
loudspeaker
legendary
system,
one. So that's why, not
which with
because,
a little tuning will outperform all the high-end today.
yeah, well, as for
I mean,
tuning,
it's
it's not
built
that
in
small,
here.
right? But still, and don't worry about Class D, don't worry. It keeps improving, processors keep improving, everything keeps improving, but you'll never get anything with your passive ones in your life. What you can get with this approach. Imagine it's installed properly in the corners, the way it was originally intended, and imagine that it's getting 200 watts to the low frequencies from the amplifier. The speakers here are 4 ohm,
With a sensitivity of 105 decibels,
and the sensitivity is insane. Yes, there will be some correction, but whether you need correction or not, yeah, sometimes the room itself can boost the lows, help out. Oh, and the current you have there, the only thing you'll have to figure out is what kind of signal to give it.
And since the sensitivity is high, you'll naturally get a lot of resolution, and any noise that's there will immediately be revealed.
There are no perfect recordings, there are bad recordings, and they'll just come out. You'll finally hear what those recordings are really like. That's it. We do this, let's say the owner of these systems, when he listens to the difference,
Even with just one modified speaker, he sat for a long time with his eyes wide open, wondering how this was possible.
because right now you can see, yes, it's an open baffle design. He has it set up and it's working. He has a full set, which means an open baffle design, which works with classic instruments, like the original. That is, both the plus and minus are reproduced. The minus is reproduced in an instant. And finally, you get all the string instruments. Yes, that is, you get the entire classic set of musical instruments in their original sound. Next, and it has a full horn system where you can really enjoy that horn sound. There is a difference between them, but interestingly, the overall picture is almost the same. The only difference is that the character of the sound is a little different. But the overall presentation and the soundstage, surprisingly, they are very similar. It will always be like this when you have done everything correctly.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Just use your head.
Roland, can you tell us a little bit about the Reflektor Audio Bespoke speakers that are connected here? So a few words, what kind of speakers are these and why are they here at all?
So, originally, this whole project was conceived back then, and we already included it in the plan.
All the low frequency problems that exist in the room would be neutralized by the fact that our walls let the sound through. But that is, as we've already talked about, it's a room within a room, how it works, right? So the system is like a system of passive acoustic resistance. The wall, it has thickness, and it gradually lets the sound out through special materials. So it's warm here in winter, everything is great, but that's exactly how it works. And that's why the entire low frequency range is free of room-related problems. Height and width practically don't affect about a third of the room, ideally. Yes, well, even if you go all the way, all these resonances are very low Q. Open baffle design is good here because, first of all, these are absorbers. The walls are absorbers. It's a stuffed wall. Actually, it's acoustically live, meaning it lets everything through. And open baffle design, that's it. Gives you the feeling that when working, let's say, live instruments, when I talk to musicians, they always had a problem. Why was this original Reflektor system developed for sound reinforcement?
Later, we adapted it for more home use. Now, what you see here, this is all professional.
There is a system that's specifically for home use. Of course, it's made from different materials. There's no stainless steel. So everything,
So,
musicians, when they finally listen to their instrument together with this system, yes, it allows you to do that because it has a perfect impulse response, phase impulse response, because your microphone works the same way then, and the reflector behind you is working. So if your microphone moves like this, then all your speakers here also work in phase. Because of this, there's no squeal, no feedback, because everything is perfect. And that's why you can amplify it, but the problem musicians always had was that the lower register drops out. And that's why you need special rooms, so when you amplify, you can boost the lower register. As we've already mentioned, in large halls, all of this is done acoustically. But here, in simple halls, you can do all of this with a system like this, which allows you to amplify the lower part without ruining the upper part. That's the most important thing. It's here for one simple reason. There are a lot of problems with perfectly reproducing live music with atmosphere, and this system can do it. Not only is this room acoustically dead, as you can understand, but it also works like a figure eight. A figure eight. That means we have positive in the front and negative in the back. A lot of people shout, saying, "Some fool put the speakers backwards here." I'll explain again. What you consider the back is the front for me. So it doesn't mean anything if the speaker is positioned like this, that this is the front of the speaker. Who told you that's correct anyway? Because speakers have a whole bunch of problems when emitting sound. Actually, most of the problems are eliminated here. That's why we have a response that stays within 45 degrees.
Further out, it doesn't radiate anything off to the sides. That's why you can practically install all of this even in a glass room without needing a special room.
And it will sound very good with minimal impact on the room. That's another important factor. The impact of the impulse response on the reverberation of the room itself. The more accurate your impulse response and impulse phase response are, the less reverberation you'll have in the room. Because there's nothing that will interfere with it. You have a flat response. These ones have a big drop-off, and they don't boost anything in the corners either. And a simple acoustic system, let's say a classic one, if everything is done correctly, you have a flat impulse phase response, and in a room, the reverberation is minimal. That's why it's very important, and today anyone who doesn't pay attention to this is taking a step backward. It's all very simple. See, we're moving forward. We don't want to leave behind an unfinished Klipsch, which has everything. But for some reason, many have decided that it's good enough as it is. No, it's not enough, guys. Work, and you'll have the perfect tool to monitor your recordings.
Guys, this was Roland from Reflektor Audio and Arkady from Premium Hi-Fi. If you want to realize an audiophile dream like this, a dedicated listening room, phase linear speakers, all the necessary equipment, please contact us. We will design a room for you, build it, install the equipment, and set everything up. Get a turnkey audiophile room of your dreams. That's all. And may the force of the sound that's right for you be with you. Come visit us.